All right. Looks like we are live and direct. Doing it one more time. I did not do the intro. I forgot. Damn it. I have a cool intro. Um, Welcome to the Weekly Ritual Ghost Cult's news show here on social media. There will be a rebroadcast. Gabe is here. Anti Moz Beast. Eldo Numero. What's up? What's up? The best experience for this show is over on YouTube, where I'm doing a cool thing with Streamyard, trying out some new software. But if you're hanging out here on TikTok and Instagram, I also appreciate you. The best experience is on the tube of YouTube. This is our weekly show. We run down all the big news of the week, talk about some stuff we're doing here at ghostcultmag.com. In case you didn't know and you just happen to stumble upon us, if you love rock, if you love metal, Ghost Cult Mag is your all-in-one place. We review albums, we interview bands, we travel around the world to do festivals. We have people around the world writing for us, and a lot of cool stuff. Very, very cool. Let's see. Just making sure everything is going good here. And you can all hear me, I hope. Seems good so far. Anywho, let's I'd like to run down the what the show is actually all about. You, if you jump in on YouTube or if you're here on the other channels, we are also running a fundraiser. A few months back, we were at a metal festival interviewing bands, and our camera gear got destroyed in an accident. It really sucked. We did get some money for the gear, but not nearly enough. We are going to buy some new gear by the end of Q1 2023, by the end of March. So we are going to keep trying to raise funds to get a little extra money to get the best gear possible so we can keep doing what we do, what we love. In the meantime, we're doing it here, doing this stuff. So hopefully everybody's cool and enjoying that. There are links in the bio where you can donate. We now have Cashapp, Ghost Cult card. Don't go anywhere without it. We'll hold this up so the all the other social people can see. Cashapp card for Ghost Cult. Pretty awesome. Got my fingerprints on it already. And yeah. Yes, we are in the Bay Area, and I was in Sassoon at Retroactive Records. I'm a huge fan. I hope we did it some justice. I absolutely love you guys. And in addition to Ghost Cult, I have a side podcast I'll talk about in a minute where we talk exclusively about vinyl and metal and rock history, and we do album deep dives. And so we are vinyl nerds. My partner is even more smart and educated and savvy on this stuff than I am. I'm a lifelong music lover, and I'm still learning about stuff. I also have PayPal. Links are in the bio. In the bio where you can donate to the fundraiser, and PayPal is actually the main donation source. We're also on Ko-fi if you want to buy us a coffee. Also, that also goes to PayPal. Cash App is also pretty safe, I have to say. We chose not to do a GoFundMe, but yeah, Retroactive Records in Sassoon, I love you so much, and I wish you the best of luck with everything. Thank you so much. I love the two records that I bought there last week. I may preview them, show them here in a future show, but I picked up an awesome record by Jawbox, who I saw 3 times in 2022, as well as My Bloody Valentine, killer bands that I love a lot from the 90s and the aughts. But yeah, thanks for being here. Big Body 718, what up, what up? Thanks for being here on the TikTok. You are watching Ghost Cult's rock and metal news show, all the rock and metal and other stuff you might be interested in. Scooter0075 is here on Insta as well. I'm trying to keep up. My screen stuff is over here, so I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm juggling many things. I'm trying to do the professional streamer way of doing things. But over here on the tube of you, we have a lot of cool stuff going. So let's give you the layout of the show in case you want to stick around. Here's the intro right now, followed by some announcements, anybody that passed away this week or anything else we have going on. Then the major news, we're starting with music festivals around the world. This week, I think it's mostly the USA. Tours, regular tours, and one-off shows and important stuff we think you should know about. And then the regular news, a lot of new albums are being announced. We sometimes have our New Music Friday segment. When these used to be a pre-recorded, we would slot in our New Music Friday preview. Anybody that's got a band or has a record coming out soon, get in touch with us, DM us, email us, and get on our New Music Friday list, which we do a cool thing. I'll show a little of it in the show here on YouTube. You guys on Instagram and TikTok won't be able to see it, but check us out on YouTube, ghostcultmag on almost all the socials, but definitely over on YouTube. And yep, let's see what else. Then I might do a fun segment on streaming. We haven't been doing that for a while. Turin Horse 666, what up? We haven't been doing a lot of our streaming stuff anymore because we're back to shows and concerts, but I have a fun streaming thing I want to share this week so everybody can see it. And then a little thing, what's in my mailbag, stuff I'm enjoying, things that are sent to me all the time. I've been doing music journalism for almost 20 years, 10 with Ghost Cult, 15 seriously in professional settings. So I've been around people. I'm very lucky. I get to go to listen to music before it comes out. I get to go to see shows and review them. I get to meet bands and interview artists. I do what I love, and I feel really lucky. And there's about 60 of us around the world. So photographers, reviewers, interviewers, just I feel very lucky. We're 10 years and going strong. So thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. I often say having a music website is a lot like being on being a DIY band, because we're just like everybody else. If you're not Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, Consequence of Sound, Spin, we're not the biggest of the bigs. We're in a cool league with a lot of other websites, but we're just not the biggest of the big, just so you know. Alrighty, so that's the rundown. That's sort of the rundown of the show. And now we will get into the announcements. And so if you're watching on YouTube, this is really fun. Coming up for Blair's here, Reza Mills, what up? Ghost Cult writer Reza Mills. If you're over here on YouTube, you're going to get to really enjoy this thing. I did what amounts to an immersive slideshow of the news show for the first time ever. Very similar to if this was on videotape. And our awesome producer and my BFF, Omar Cordy, would normally be editing this up, but we've kind of pivoted to these live streams. And so I'm using StreamYard. Once again, thanks to the Most Epic Adventures, Rob Zip on YouTube, youtube.com/Rob Zip. He turned me on to StreamYard. I watched him do a New Year's Day stream using this platform, and I'm starting to slowly adapt to it. So I did this whole incredible slideshow. So you can actually finally, if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see the news stories, not just me like telling you the stories. Anywho, let's add this to the stream. I'm going to go to the cinematic mode. And we should, oh, I'm in the wrong slide. Gosh darn it. Oh, well. Spoiler alert, if you're watching on YouTube, you got to see the whole slideshow in reverse. Anyway, let's get into the announcements. Just today, we had a lot of deaths so far in 2023. It's really sad. I know people die every day, and it's hard not to get sentimental about artists, but or maybe we shouldn't. But David Crosby died today, the famous folk singer. I know that his reputation is that he's been very curmudgeonly the last few years as he's getting older and older. He was 81 years old when he passed away, and he infamously said that he thought Iron Maiden was the worst music he ever heard in his life. And, you know, he had a whole thing when Phoebe Bridgers smashed her guitar on Saturday Night Live. He thought it sucked. He didn't like to see that. She's, a bit of even though she makes kind of emo punk, emo folk punk music, she's a punk at heart. She's a disruptor. And I didn't have a problem with her smashing up the guitar at all, but he was mad about it. But listen, David Crosby is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for whatever it's worth twice. Very few people are in twice for two different bands. He's a legendary singer-songwriter, and he influenced generations of writers and artists, and he was very political. Actually, if weed ever gets legalized in America, I'm pretty sure it'll be partially because David Crosby was a huge advocate, donated a lot of money to the cause to try to get weed legalized in America. So, rest in peace, David Crosby. Also this week, passing away, Van Conner, the bassist and co-founder of Screaming Trees. If you don't know who Screaming Trees are, you have some homework to do. They're best known for their late frontman, Mark Lanegan, who I'm a humongous fan of. He passed away last year. But Van Conner was 55. We don't, apparently had a long illness and then got pneumonia and died. His brother posted a loving tribute to him on Facebook, but Screaming Trees were kind of a punk band when they started. Then they kind of morphed into a psychedelic, grungy rock band. They were on the Single soundtrack. They did Lollapalooza. They toured all over the world. They were never quite as big as the Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, but they're on that next rung to me with Tad and Mudhoney and other bands like that. I really, even though they started in Washington State, I don't really consider Melvins a grunge band. They really were around for a long time, Stoner Doom and stuff. I love the SST stuff. I love Sweet Oblivion. I know it was very commercial, and Lanegan particularly, if you ever read his book, you really hated being in the band with those guys, and he really hated the lyrics and the songs that were not his music. He was just a singer and his very little contribution. But, I would have paid to hear Lanegan sing The Phone Book, and his solo stuff is magnificent. And I love Screaming Trees, unapologetically. I remember seeing them on Lollapalooza 96 with Soundgarden, Ramones, Metallica, Wu-Tang Clan, Gwar, and they held their own. They were really great. So Van Conner passed away, rest in peace. And then another kind of surprising death, TJ DeBlois, or DeBlois, I hope I'm saying that correctly, the drummer and co-founder of A Life Once Lost. He passed away. And not an old guy, a young guy. The band's only been around 20-something years. I saw them a few times when I lived on the East Coast at festivals and hardcore and post-hardcore gigs. And TJ, all-around nice guy. He played in a bunch of other bands. And, he left the band at one point later on. But just rest in peace, TJ. Very sad. Very sad when people lose their lives. So that is the announcements for the week. And then let's see. Moving on to the features this week at Ghost Cult. So that's the intro, the announcements, the features. I got to keep track. These little pop-ups on YouTube are super cool. Let me know how you like this. If you're watching on YouTube, how you are enjoying this. I'm very much looking forward to all your reviews, Reza. You have been a tremendous asset. Thank you so much for joining us on Ghost Cult. Really appreciate you. And looking forward to working with you even more in the new year. So interviews this week at Ghost Cult. I'm going to try to keep this moving with all the moving parts, so forgive me. But interviews this week at Ghost Cult include Cody Ford of Soen. Soen has a brand new album out, Atlantis, that is basically a reimagining of all their material with the string orchestra. They did an awesome Slipknot cover, and they've been touring Europe a lot after their US tour ended at the end of last year. So Soen, huge things coming from them. They're already hard at work on a new heavy album. One of the cooler bands in the world, infamous for their drummer, Martin Lopez, formerly of Opeth. But Soen's a very Tool-sounding band if you're into that kind of stuff. I certainly am. Namaste. Hi. And let's see. Swim the Current, which is a hard rock metal supergroup from the tri-state area, New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut, featuring members of assorted different awesome bands. They dropped a brand new video today. We actually helped premiere that video. We Are Not the Same. But also, we interviewed the band late last year about their previous single and talked about how the band formed. And they're hella cool. So that's a really fun interview. Emotional support llamas and metal guy stuff, all kinds of things. Really fun. Also interviewed one of my favorite people in all of music. You're not really supposed to have favorites, but being that I'm a guy from New York City, I got to interview Tommy Victor of Prong. Prong has a brand new single out, Breaking Point. They're probably going to drop a new album at some point in the new year. And Prong is just one of those bands for me. They're just cased in amber, man. I love those early New York metal bands. I caught up with Tommy at a festival, at Aftershock Festival nearby in Sacramento. I'm based out of San Francisco. Ghost Cult is all over the world, in case you didn't know. And Tommy talked about the new record. He talked about touring with Danzig. Cranium Band is here on Instagram. What's up? Hello, also, everybody over on TikTok. I'm not wearing my glasses, so there's not a reflection from the lighting, so I can't see as well. Sorry. But I interviewed Tommy from Prong. He talked about playing challenges of playing cover, basically playing songs with Danzig. He is a member of Danzig's band. Big JC 4513, what's up? And he talked about new Prong music, and he talked about kind of the music industry a little bit. It was not a long interview, but it was a fun one. We always have a laugh, Tommy and I. Good times. So that's some of the features we did this week. We also interviewed Sarah Pendleton of the Otolith. In case you didn't know, the Otolith is made up of most of the members of the former band Sabroso, which was one of the most cool cult underground metal bands ever to exist. They basically played doom metal with violins, and one person wanted to leave the band, and the band kind of decided they're not the same band without that person, so they reformed as a new band, and they're now the Otolith. And I interviewed Sarah. We did a track-by-track breakdown of the whole album, one of the most badass records of 2022. It was a really fun interview. She's fantastic. I highly recommend going to get this. Before I go on, let me also say, if you're a DIY band, if you're a DIY label, if you got an underground enterprise, if you make cool stuff that metalheads might like, you can get a shout out in our videos. We do a thing at the very end of if you watch to the end of our videos, you see that there's like a little shout out in the last frame on YouTube that we give like a mention to a band, and we tag them in our description, and then we tag them in all our socials. And we started doing this just like this show. We started doing this during the pandemic to try to uplift underground bands. And yes, of course, we talk about all the big, huge bands. And if I got to interview the most big of the bigs, of course, we're going to rep them and talk about them. But at heart, I'm still a DIY guy. I was in underground bands for a long time. Our founders were a lot of us are in bands or were in bands. So it's important to us to support lesser known bands and DIY festivals and DIY record labels and record stores. That's why we do what we do. I think you've gotten one already, Gabe. We've definitely given you one over the times, but you will definitely get another one in the future. We're going to connect soon, Gabe. I want to get an interview with you about your new record and just about your artistry, man. I care about your work, and we'll circle up soon. I've been swamped and just trying to dig out from under the start of the year. I'm still kind of getting rid of the end of 2022 as I move into 2023. So we'll talk soon, Gabe. I'll set it up with your PR, Curtis. So yeah, if you want to get a shout out, there's a pin post on Twitter. There's a link in our bio. We call it the hashtag GC shout out. If you go on our reels on Instagram, you can see it there. So sometimes we do. Not everybody's on TikTok, so we don't always do it there on TikTok, but for sure at the end of our videos on YouTube, and it surely gets an Instagram thing. So definitely hit us up, DM us, hit us up, and we'll, there's some rules, there's some steps. We'd like you to follow us and show that you care about us too and support us back. But we really generally, we have a shout out, a mention in every video. There's a mention. So I just wanted to point that out. Moving over to our podcast, I had the honor of interviewing a heavy metal legend, Leather Leone. You might know her as the voice of the heavy metal band Chaston with the shredder David Chaston. He's kind of semi-retired now, as Chaston is also probably semi-retired. But Leather Leone put out an incredible solo album, We Are the Chosen. It's phenomenal. If you like Iron Maiden, if you like Saxon, if you like trad heavy metal, Leather has been around for over 40 years in the music industry. She is an incredible singer. She's a fun person. This was a great chat. We got a podcast version of this interview. There'll be a video version later that's a little longer, but definitely check out our interview with Leather Leone. Speaking of podcasts, two podcasts that are associated with Ghost Cult. One you see us share a lot of is Heavy Business. The Heavy Business podcast is from C Squared Marketing. They're a music marketing PR firm, and they talk about music industry topics. If you have a band, if you have a DIY enterprise, if you're any kind of artist trying to make it in music, you want to follow that podcast. There's also an associated music marketing free advice group that I run on Facebook. I'll link that in the description. I don't normally plug that with Ghost Cult, but for sure you can check out that music marketing group where we basically give free advice. It's not a place for you to spam my music. Here's my Spotify link. Here's my thing. There's plenty of places for you to do that on the internet. We're really interested in answering the music marketing questions of our time. And yeah, that's what we do. So Heavy Business Podcast. And in addition, I'm the co-host of the Glacially Musical podcast, as in pour a beer, metal, swearing, vinyl, as I mentioned at the top of the show. And we just started a new series on Exodus. Later tonight, after I'm done with this show, I will post our next episode on Exodus, Pleasures of the Flesh. Last week was Bonded by Blood. Check us out. We do deep dives on bands. We do vinyl nerdism. We talk about pop culture. We talk about metal and rock. We drink beers. We drink fun craft beers. We have fun. Check it out. I think we have merch now, actually. We have glasses that we're going to start putting out. That's a lot of fun. Ghost Cult also has a podcast, as I mentioned, like my Leather Leone podcast, but this show will be a podcast. And Maddie Groves 1 is here. What's up? So, Murloc Lives is here, I think, on TikTok. What's up, Murloc Lives? Great to see you. Thanks for being here on our weekly rock and metal news show, everybody. But we also have a podcast. This show will be a podcast in case, hey, I like this show, but I don't have time to watch this fool every week on the internet. Maybe I can listen to the podcast when I go for a run, or I drive to work, or I walk the dog. So check us out wherever you listen to podcasts. Ghost Cult Mag, Ghost Cult Podcast. Do check it out. On to the rest of the news. And now it is time for the news rundown section of the show. And this is where with the next section here, we're going to highlight festival news and tour dates. This is a big draw for a lot of people. Check out this little fun thing. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing all the fun. Yeah. Killer Diller. Let's just see if anybody is here on the tube of you before I go forward, because I just kind of like to see if people are around. I'm clicking around. This is no fun for everyone. Yep. That's cool. Looks like we're live over there. Alrighty. So starting things off this weekend right here in the Bay Area, where I am, is the Homesick Fest, a 2-day festival at the UC Theater in Berkeley, California, home of the Cal Bears, your Golden Bears. And yeah, this is a pretty rad festival. I kind of have a thing this weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to make it, but it is pretty awesome. Friday includes Snail Mail, Sheer Mag, Tsunami, Lilies, Nuevo Testamento, and Super Crush, pretty indie rock and alternative rock and hardcore bands. And on Saturday, from the Bay Area, headlining the Saturday night of this festival is Deafheaven. They have only played 2 local shows in the last few months. After not really playing here for a while, I doubt they're coming back anytime soon to this area. They are continuing to tour behind their recent album. And so in addition, Snail Mail will play again on Saturday, as well as Fiddlehead, also Lilies, and Shoemag, and a few other bands. So it looks pretty damn badass over the 2 days. I think some of them will be playing twice. Also announced for this spring, Heavy PSYCH Sounds Fest, which is already going to have 2 in California, 1 here in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, and 1 in Joshua Tree. How cool would it be to see psychedelic and stoner rock bands in the desert? That's where the music came from, Caius and things like that. Amazing. Heavy PSYCH Sounds Fest is going to have an Italy edition of their festival. 2 dates, rotating lineups, 2 dates, 2 cities in Italy, Torino and Bologna. My Bologna. I had to. I love Weird Al. Had to do a Weird Al. My Bologna. Nebula, Stone Jesus, Conan, Nick Oliveri, Black Rainbows, the return of Mesa, who was in a terrible bus crash last year. I'm so glad they're all alive. Beelzebub, Gioba, Dead Smoke, and many more bands gonna play that festival. Super stoked. Love that label. You can almost guarantee there are some record labels, just about anything they put out rules. You can just pretty much guarantee it. All right, moving forward. Blue Ridge Rock Festival has been the king of reunions the last few years. Last year they had God Forbid, Kitty, Shadows Fall, Saliva. And this year their new lineup already looks killer, and they just announced Biohazard is going to make their first American date so far of their reunion tour at Blue Ridge Rock Festival in mid-September. Super pumped. I had an interview yesterday with Billy Bio, and we're going to talk all about the Biohazard reunion on a future interview podcast. Stay tuned for that here at the channels. But Blue Ridge already has Megadeth and Machine Head in a rare festival appearance, Pantera reunion or Pantera tribute, whatever it is. They're all going to play the show. So like Blue Ridge Rock Festival looking pretty good there. with this year's edition. Milwaukee Metal Fest. We started talking about this. Jamie Jasta is reviving the Milwaukee Metal Fest from the early 90s to about 2004. Milwaukee Metal Fest was the biggest American metal festival. Maryland Death Fest was pretty new in the early 2000s. So really it was Milwaukee Metal Fest and nothing else for a long time. And they have been bought by Jamie Jasta, and the first announcement of bands is coming week after next. So stay tuned. Probably when we do the news show in 2 weeks, for early February, we'll be relaying all the bands, but they're going to announce their first 30 bands and probably ticket sales and stuff like that. So if you love them, I'm pretty sure Jamie's going to have a lot of death metal and hardcore there. So that sounds pretty cool to me. And that's going to take place Memorial Day weekend. So there's so many options and shows and festivals already in Memorial Day weekend. Boston Calling and Hell in the Harbor and Sonic Temple and Northwest Terror Fest and Milwaukee Metal Fest all happening that weekend. Crazy. It's crazy time. Muddy Roots has announced another wave of bands. They've already announced some bands, but they announced another wave of bands. And I don't have all the posters here on YouTube, but I put up my favorite, DRI. It's time to thrash hard with DRI. DRI is going to play there. They're on their 40th anniversary tour that's never ending. Super shout out to DRI. Love some DRI. Four of a Kind, my personal favorite. Crossover, a classic, of course. Amazing stuff. Also this week announced, I'm sure by now you've heard, Gojira and Mastodon are once again teaming up for a co-headline tour, this time being joined by Lorna Shore. Those guys are everywhere on the strength of their last record, one of the top records of Ghost Cult's 2022 list. And Gojira and Mastodon co-headline tour, 2 legs of the tour. Very exciting. Also, Black Dahlia Murder has announced their first headline tour since the passing of Trevor Strnad. I don't know how you feel about them continuing on. I feel pretty good about it. Brian Eschbach is now the vocalist. And I saw some videos of them at their tribute show to Trevor, and they sounded great. And I don't have, those guys are like family. So they're going to continue on in Trevor's name and continue to support that record. And they put out 2 years ago and keep making music, hopefully in the future. I'm pumped about it. And that lineup is insane. They have Terror and Fuming Mouth, and it's just sick. Just a sick lineup. We got all the dates at ghostcultmag.com. Also announced Death to All, the tribute to Chuck Schuldiner and the music of death, is going to do their first North American tour in a long-ass time. And they are going to be playing 30 years of individual thought patterns as well as death hits. The lineup is going to be made up of former Death members and a couple of other guys, and it's going to be amazing. Suffocation is on that tour, and I can't recall who the other one is. It might be Nukem. Also, coming up this year is the Disemboweled God Festival, a bunch of black metal, death metal, and grindcore, and I have to actually go look up this list because the logos are illegible, and I can't read who it is. Here we go. Oxygen Destroyer, Cystic, Degrade, Vulnere, Witch Vomit, Spirit Possession, Axphere, Grave Depression, Torture Rack, Rat King, Hemorrhoid, Decaying Crypt, and Dripping Decay, all playing that festival. How awesome is that? Other tours announced this week include Clutch. Clutch is going to do a North American tour. They've been touring incessantly since they released their last record last fall. Opening that tour will be Nate Bergman and Amigo the Devil. We have an Amigo the Devil interview coming up soon here at Ghost Cult. Big fan right here. This guy, 2 thumbs, Amigo the Devil fan, this guy. Life is a joke and death is the punchline. Anybody joining us over on YouTube, come hang out with us. And you give us a super thanks or a super chat for $5. I will do a shot of this Metallica Black and Whiskey that I have that they sent me, and I'm still trying to get rid of this whole bottle. I have more than half a bottle left. I suck at polishing this thing off. Somebody help me. Also announced a new tour this weekend. Oh, that quote is Amigo the Devil. If you like, Electric Kiwi is here. Amigo the Devil is one of my favorite songwriters ever. It's very like demented, sad, Americana blues, country folk songs about serial killers and killing your wife and drinking yourself to death and dealing with life's bullshit and screaming at God. Yep, life is a joke and death is the punchline. I might get that tattooed on me. I'm not sure. Also announcing a tour this week. OTEP has announced her and her band, her first American headline tour in, I think, 3 years. They finished by touring Europe in 2019. They did a hometown show at the end of 2019. They just played their first show back in September, celebrating the 20th anniversary of their Sevis Tra album. And they have announced the Sermons of Fire tour, very likely title for the new OTEP album, soon to be announced, I think. Sermons of Fire, honoring the Psalms of Sevis Tra and Hydra. Hydra is 10 years old this year. Sevis Tra is 21 years old this year. So very cool stuff. Haven't seen an OTEP show in a long ass time. Looking forward to Raging to Blood Pig once again. What a killer band. Much respect. Also announced, there's just so many tours. Also announced this week, Clash of the Titans with a K. Kreator, Sepultura, Death Angel, and Spirit World teaming up for a North American tour. I know most of these tours are in North America. Some of these bands have dates in Europe. We'll get to some Europe shows soon. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Thanks for watching the show. Autobahn, you have a cool name. A very cool name on the TikToks. Very cool. So yeah, Clash of the Titans tour, Kreator and Sepultura co-headline. They're going to switch spots each night. Very awesome. Very exciting. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't have a poster for this because there's no poster for this, but Warbringer is booked a humongous amount of shows. They got 2 Southern California shows in early February, and then they're going to Europe. There you go. For a very long spell of tour dates. And they are putting out a cassette box set of all their best stuff. This is very rare because I'm going to tell you, like, with musicians' rights and the rights to labels and music, it's unusual to get a band able to put out their entire discography and rarities in any kind of box set, any collection, even digitally. And so Warbringer is putting out their best jams on a cassette box set, including their long sought after rare demos. This is only, I think it's only gonna be 300 editions, comes with some Warbringer patches and stickers and a pin. This is awesome. If you love this band and you have cassettes to rock, Warbringer, love them so much. One of the best live bands I've also ever seen. Love John Keevil. We should interview him again soon. We interviewed him a few years back in person, back when we used to do these things in person and not over a Zoom. You know what I'm saying? So no poster for the Warbringer tour yet, but at least we have the picture of the box set if you're watching here on YouTube. Also touring North America, Elder, who has an incredible late 2022 album you should all check out. They are touring with Ruby the Hatchet and Howling Giant. What an incredible bill if you love the psychedelic stoner rock and doom. Word, whiskey makes me frisky. You're all a target. That sounded very threatening and uncool. But anyway, that tour's kicking off in Buffalo and ending in Sacramento. So I may have an outside shot of traveling in the 2 hours and plus to Sacramento to go see that show. I might have to. This weekend, Grilla Mall, the famous burger joint in the LA area in Alhambra, or as their poster says, in the ham, bruh. 10 years they're celebrating this weekend with food specials and metal merch, and Caton from Hyrax is going to DJ, and I think they're going to have some bands. There's going to be some shitty beer for $2, and there's going to be some better beer if you got money, and Pinamall is going to be there selling their pins. I like red wine with a dinner. I live near wine country, so there's a lot of wine opportunities out here, but I'm really more of a wine, or red or a white with my meal. Whiskey is my hangout drink, my bar drink. Again, anybody showing up on our YouTube and giving us a super thanks of $5 or more, I will drink a shot of this whiskey. So Grill 'em all. I think that's the end of that. Nope, it's not. Here we go for Europe. Katatonia and SÓLSTAFIR kicking off a tour this weekend. And actually, there's some additional Katatonia news that I wanted to share. Anders Nystrom, the co-founder of Katatonia's new album, is out tomorrow or today as you watch this. I'm super stoked for it. Sky Void of Stars. And Anders Nystrom will not be able to do the tour. He's got some family issues. He's got to stay home for this first tour, co-headline tour of Katatonia SÓLSTAFIR. Oh my gosh, incredible, incredible. And Nico Ekstrand, if I said that correctly, I hope I did, from Entombed AB, is going to fill in on guitar. He's already covered, he's an occasional fill-in for the band as it is, so he knows the material. He's going to have to learn a couple of new songs. Nico, good on you. Anders, I hope it all sorts out soon and you get back to touring. I saw Katatonia just recently, and they were phenomenal. And I have a Katatonia interview coming up with their bassist, Nicholas Senden, coming very soon. Big Katatonia fan here. So Warbringer, all this. Before I go on, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to do something special and fun. See, again, you get the best of this show over on YouTube. I do remember the $10 water cups over at Woodstock 99. That shit was ridiculous. I will say that I ate one of the most wonderful things I ever ate in my entire life was at Woodstock 99. Most of the food was trash, like typical, you know, it wasn't even like good fair food. It like you go to a country fair and the food is good. It was whack. But one of the things it was like a little hole in the wall stand, and these like grandmas were making arepas, and they were phenomenal. I think they're like the cuisine of Colombia and Venezuela and Central and South America. Maybe Mexico has them too. Help educate me if I don't know. I apologize. But this was like, I was so hungry and the food was so whack and shitty. And we had some snacks in our tents, but it was so hard at Woodstock 99. There's a video here on YouTube of me talking about my Woodstock 99 experience, very controversial experience and video about Woodstock 99, where I may have disparaged Limp Bizkit and Red Hot Chili Peppers a little bit. But I'm going to share something cool if you're watching over on YouTube. I'm going to remove this for a second and try this out. I have not done this before, so we're going to give this a shot. Let's see how to, I'm still learning this software, so you got to bear with me. We did, I don't know if you know this, one of our affiliate partners is Liquid Death Mountain Spring Water. 100% mountain spring and sparkling water in a can, fully recyclable. And I'm a huge fan. This is the Bury It Alive. And I'm going to take a sip because I love me some stuff. Mars Attacks podcast is here. One of my favorite people in the whole world. What is up? Please go support and follow the Mars Attacks podcast. Cheers to you, Mars Attacks. But in addition to this Liquid Death Mountain Spring Water, Ghost Cult has an affiliate deal with Liquid Death. If you are buying some Liquid Death and you order Liquid Death from their website, if you plug in the code ghostcultmag or our special link in our description, you get free koozies and merch and stuff from them. So like, that's really cool. If you're already buying the water, get something free from Liquid Death. And if you're watching on YouTube, we made a promo. We cut a promo for Liquid Death. It's a little outdated now that they have the sparkling, but check, if you're watching, check this out, because we're nothing if not shameless self-promoters. So we're going to share this in the video and watch it here in the other screen.
100% mountain water from the Austrian Alps. 860.9 ounce tall boy. Liquid Death comes in two flavors: mountain spring water and sparkling water. Entirely from 100% aluminum cans.
That's what it sounds like. Murder your thirst. That's my homeboy Scott Summer on the ones and twos there. I hope that came across well on YouTube. I'll have to watch it back and you let me know. All right. Furthermore, in the final bit of tour news, Wage War, Nothing Nowhere, and Spite. Man, Spite is one of the most badass bands I've ever seen live. They are teaming up for a spring tour. Wage War put out a banger album last year. A little underrated, to be honest with you. Wage War is one of those bands. I know they toured with Slipknot, but they're not a band. Like, people don't mention them when it comes to metalcore or metallic hardcore, whatever you want to call it. Such a cool band. Such a cool band. Excuse me as I'm a little belchy from the seltzer. Moving on to the regular news. And I will pull up the news rundown Chiron on YouTube. This is so much fun. I'm really enjoying this. This might be taking me a little longer than usual to get through all this, so I appreciate your patience. we're gonna bang through it now that I'm up to the news point because it's just slides. Metallica dropped a brand new song today, unawares to everybody. They just do things their own way. The second single from their upcoming new album, 72 Seasons. I know people are tired of talking about Metallica and hearing about Metallica, but really, if everybody would stop clicking on them, I wouldn't talk about them. But everybody can't help themselves. But they talk about this band, they share. Metallica dominated last year from end to end, whatever you want to say. And even if you think they suck, they help all of metal and rock. So I'm particularly excited about this new Metallica record. I like the last one an awful lot. As long as the recording doesn't sound like ass, I'm in. And so the new single and video is called Screaming Suicide, and it addresses suicidal ideation and suicidal thoughts. Metallica is the most popular band in the world. James Hetfield is one of the most famous people alive, and they're having a frank discussion in the public realm about suicide. This is really important. And James shared he's suddenly becoming back to being a little bit of a spokesperson again for the band. Maybe he's going to give Lars a break. We all want Lars to get a break. Listen to this quote from James. I put this into the slides on YouTube because I really think this is important. James writes, Screaming Suicide addresses the taboo word of suicide. The intention is to communicate about the darkness we feel inside. It is ridiculous to think we should deny that we have these thoughts at one point or another. I believe most people have thought about it. To face it is to speak the unspoken. If it's a human experience, we should be able to talk about it. You are not alone. James Hetfield. That is beautiful, man. And we have lost some people at Ghost Cult to suicide, and it's very difficult. So I'm really appreciative that James did this. The response to the song has been awesome. It's like just like the last song, Lux Eterna. It's a very old new wave of British heavy metal influence Metallica. Like they're really going back in time to like kill them all. And listen, the guys are like 60. I don't expect them to make another And Justice for All right now. I don't think physically they could even do it. So if you hate Metallica, if you love Metallica, you're going to be hearing a lot about Metallica coming up soon. Moving right along. In Flames dropped a new single and video this week, Meet Your Maker. Their new record's just a few weeks away, Foregone, on Nuclear Blast Records. We interviewed Chris Broderick not too long ago. We're hoping to get another interview with the band to talk more about the record. Stay tuned for some more coverage of In Flames here at Ghost Cult. This is amazing. Full of Hell. If you know the band Full of Hell, they are well known for their collaborative albums and projects. And when they make an album, they don't do a split release. They join forces with the other band and they make music together like a brand new band. And they approach it like a blend. Like, how do we fit these two things together? So Full of Hell and Primitive Man, arguably the heaviest band on earth if you love heavy music and extreme, just gross death metal and doom. Primitive Man, so great. I'm such a fan. They're kicking off a co-headlining tour with Acacia Strain and Fit for an Autopsy. But this collaborative record is going to be called Suffocating Hallucinations, coming out March 3rd via Closed Casket Activities, and mixed in by Andy Nelson and mastered by Arthur Rizek. You know that Arthur is on all the greatest records of our time right now. He is an incredible producer. Sasquatchtodon, incredible name. You have a great screen name, my friend, whoever you are out there. So Full of Hell and Primitive Man collaborative album dropped a new single. Pre-orders are live now. The single is called Rubble Home. The Murder Bass is here. What's up, the Murder Bass? I used to slap at a bass myself a little bit. And Rubble Home is streaming now from Full of Hell and Primitive Man, Full of Man, Primitive Hell. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's going to be rad. It's going to be awesome. Kitty Cats. If you're watching on YouTube, Kitty Cats just came on your screen, but it's not just Kitty Cats. It's Obituary just dropped their recent album, their brand new album on Relapse Records, and we have a feature interview with both the Tardy brothers. Don Tardy, in case you didn't know, runs a home for feral cats. He gets feral cats and he trains them, and he saves their lives in some cases, pays for their medical expenses, and he was featured on CNN. This is a phenomenal job by their PR team, by the way, which I believe is my man John Freeman at Freeman Promotions. Shout out to my man John. Let's see if we can pull in the video here. Let's see if we can pull in the video. Again, this is new to me, so please be patient. It's my first time. My first time in a long time. Do I have the video? I may not have it handy. I don't think I do. Yeah. Let's see if I can pull it up here. CNN obituary. Sorry for the clackety clack of the keyboard. Nope. Searching the web is difficult, my friends. There we go. No, yep. Feral Cats and Fender Strats. I'm going to play a little bit of this, and hopefully this does not complete.
Pretty much.
You've got the redneck stomping everything.
There we go. Welcome to Florida.
Death metal legends obituary called Tampa, Florida home. What Norway is the black metal and the Bay Area is the thrash.
All right, not getting the actual clip correct is my downfall. But anyway, very cool for CNN to support and rep obituary. I'm really stoked about it. Hey, it's me again. Let's add this back to the stream. Hey, it worked. There it is. All right. I'm working on it. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. It's so good to see you all hanging in there with me. You are watching, if you're still watching, Ghost Cult, our weekly ritual rock and metal news show. It's also a fundraiser. Please hit the link in the description and find out where you can help us replace our destroyed and broken gear. We need all the help we can get. A couple of bucks. If you've ever enjoyed anything we've done, if you like the video where we interviewed a band you love, throw us a couple of bucks. Be a good person. Or not. If you can't afford it because times suck, I understand that too. Nobody knows hard times harder than we do. Anywho, obituary in the mainstream media. Incredible. ENTHEOS has announced their brand new album. We've been seeing like little bits and bobs of this record for the longest time. Time Will Take Us All arrives on March 3rd via Metal Blade Records. The pre-orders are live now. They shared a crushing new song, I Am the Void. I'm pretty sure this is the track. Every time you see TikTok or Instagram video of Cheney Crab in her home studio, like growling the fuck, that's the song. We've been hearing this like tease of a song for a year, and now we finally got it. I Am the Void. And I just want to say, if you're watching on YouTube, I have the album cover pulled up, and it's very Lovecraftian. What in the fuckity fuck of Diablo 4 is this fucking thing? What in the actual fuck is this album cover? It is wonderful. I might have died there on Instagram for a second. I'm back. Don't leave. All right, we're good. Let's check this battery power out. Yep, 63. All right, we're good. ENTHEOS, new album. Super excited. Probably one of my most anticipated records of the year. Burrito Jude is here. Thank you for being here. Thanks for everybody being here. Feel free, if you can't donate money, give us a like, comment, share Ghost Cult with your friends who like metal. If you're sick of Blabbermouth and you don't like Metal Sucks, I like Metal Sucks still, but like if you don't like them or you think the other sites like Pitchfork are very elitist and look down their nose at metal, follow us. We really love metal and care about this shit. Who is this? This is Hammerhead. Is it Hammerhead or is it Brother Hawk? Not sure which one it is. I think this is Brother Hawk. Is this Brother Hawk? I think it's Brother Hawk. Brother Hawk is signed to Amigo the Devil's record label. They're kind of a funky Americana bluesy band, and they just dropped a brand new video, Safe Passage. Their upcoming record is coming out on Amigo the Devil's Liars Club record March 31st. Hella cool band. We got an interview coming up with them soon, probably in February or March. Stay tuned for that. That's Brother Hawk. This is awesome. Diehumane is the brand new supergroup. I know we throw that word around that a lot of times supergroups are not super, but this group is. Diehumane is the band that features members from an assortment of bands. Former members of Exodus, former members of Typo Negative and Life of Agony, the former vocalist of Nova Skyway. These are cool bands. These are inherently cool bands. And so Diehumane was founded in Galveston, Texas by Josh Vargas and Greg Hilligeist. And it's an incredible project. They dropped their very first song. They are announcing their debut album, The Grotesque, is coming out on May 5th on Ulrich Wild's Worm Group label. Ulrich Wild is an infamous metal producer. If you have liked metal in the last 20 years, he has produced a lot of your favorite records. And they are managed by Des Fafara and his wife, Anastasia. So very cool via their Oracle management company. So Deafheaven and this fun photo shoot they did where they look like outlaws. They look like Deadwood characters. Is really fucking great. Really great. I'm really pumped for this record. I got to see Rick Hunolt briefly last summer with Exodus. He jumped on stage with them and played a few songs, and I saw him for a minute, and I talked to him about Deafheaven, and he was wearing a Deafheaven shirt then. So now it's here. So this is very exciting. Here's Hammerhead. Sorry, guys. Hammerhead is a awesome tech metal band, sort of technical death metal, a little bit of thrash, and a little bit of everything like many bands these days. And they are dropping a new record. They're from Kansas City. They released their debut album in 2020 called Grand Currents. And now their sophomore album is coming nonetheless, which is a strange adverb to have as an album title. But whatever, it's cool. My script is shitting the bed a little bit here. How are we doing on time? Not too bad. We're almost done, people. We're getting there. A few more stories left. This is why you don't have press photos. This is why you don't have press photos. This press photo, if you're watching on YouTube, is already obsolete. The Big Six, the deathcore boy band, which is formed by the members of a bunch of infamous bands, Infant Annihilator, originally Attila, originally Fit for an Autopsy, Traitors, have now lost their second member in 2 weeks. Joe Bad from Fit for an Autopsy has departed the group. They have yet to announce a replacement, but, you know, that's why these things seem to be attention-grabbing, and, you know, they are what they are. They're going to announce a replacement. I think the group was not meant to stay together. It's going to be too hard with all these guys in touring bands to keep a band together. So I think they meant anyway for it to rotate around, but nonetheless, interesting. Nonetheless, interesting. All right. Alrighty, this story is difficult. This is, if you're watching on YouTube, this is a picture of Book of Nile. Book of Nile is was the front person of the Australian metalcore band Make Them Suffer, a really cool band. And Booka's, you know, had some controversies over the years. She's been kicked out of the band. There was an alleged sexual assault where she had sex with somebody against their will. She claims to have the receipts in her DMs and will make a statement. She has yet to make, she made kind of a denial statement, but she didn't really give any evidence. You know, I know that right now we're in a big era of cancel culture, but sometimes there's accountability also. You have to have some. So I don't know what the story is, but she is out of the band. People were huge fans of hers, and we'll see what she does in the future with music. She is kicked out. Also in the drama department, Wes Borland of Limp Bizkit is suing his ex-wife, who is known as the artist Queen Kong, Carrie Calloway. She violated their divorce agreement, apparently, when she talked about him in an interview, and he is seeking some recompense. Limp Bizkit is apparently, Wes and Limp Bizkit are writing the follow-up to their 2021 album, Still Sucks. It had the incredible song Dad Vibes and not much else that I liked, but I'm interested in a new Limp Bizkit record. How about you? Probably not. If you like nu metal, drop a comment and tell us if you like nu metal or not. A lot of people, it's very fashionable to hate nu metal, but a lot of bands right now, hardcore, death metal, deathcore, are all pulling in from nu metal influences. It's crazy. So not everybody hates nu metal, apparently. Acid King has announced the new record, a band I've been a huge fan of my whole adult life. They're here in the Bay Area like me, but I've been following them from afar. Pioneering heavy rock, stoner rock band is coming out with their new album Beyond Vision in late March on Blues Funeral Recordings. Blues Funeral Recordings is an awesome label. Actually, the Otolith is on Blues Funeral Recordings, who I interviewed, that just ran today. And they dropped their new video, Destination Psych Beyond Vision. So that's the title track over at Revolver, but you can probably see it also elsewhere. And they recorded it on 2-inch tape, old school. Old school, your 10-year-old's favorite band. I hope you mean Acid King and not Make Them Suffer. I probably missed that comment there, my brother. But yeah, that's fun. All right. Fun times. Yeah, man, there's good new metal, man. I remember seeing Korn. I had heard Korn. This is story time for a second. I heard Korn for the first time. Like, I heard Chutes and Ladders once in like November of 1994, right when that album came out. And I did not know what I was hearing. I was like, what is this? As I drink some more Liquid Death. And the next week, or like a couple of months later, I saw Korn open up for Megadeth, Fear Factory, and Flotsam and Jetsam. Not in that order. And Korn was startling live the first time. They were amazing, especially David Silveria, the former drummer, and Fieldy. Just throwing it out there. Acid King new record, Beyond Vision, coming soon. Very excited. Stoner rock never goes out of style. I love it. Another band with a new record. Judiciary lost 2 members last week. This week they announced a new album. Flesh and Blood, their sophomore record on Closed Casket Activities, also coming up in March. And they dropped a brand new single and video, Engulfed. Judiciary is a killer band. Traditional heavy metal, a little bit of thrash, a little bit of power metal. Great fun band. They have a new lineup now. So very, very exciting. The Metal Hall of Fame. I think this is the end of the news. The Metal Hall of Fame is coming up in less than a week. For those that hate the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we do have our own Hall of Fame, the Metal Hall of Fame. They have a ceremony every January. They also do a ceremony usually on stage at Fock and Open Air every summer. And this week's upcoming Metal Hall of Fame will induct Twisted Sister. Dee Snider is already a member of the Metal Hall of Fame as a solo artist, but Twisted Sister is going to get inducted, and the band will reform for the first time since their final show ever in 2018, and they will play 3 songs, and drummer Mike Portnoy, who's going to induct them, is going to play drums. So I think that's inherently exciting if you love Twisted Sister and heavy metal like I do. Jesse Party is here. What's up, Jesse Party? Also getting in the Metal Hall of Fame is Lou Gramm from Foreigner, the lead singer, Chris Imperialetti, the Shredder, and Raven, the original British heavy metal band who toured America for the first time with Metallica in 1982 and 83. And also, finally in the news, I'm super stoked about this. Agronautics, the band the brand that makes figurines and statues and stuff, super, super exciting. They are making a plushie Milo from the Descendants. I saw the Descendants last year. I saw them twice in the last 2 years. And Milo is eternal, incredible. Milo Goes to College logo and the Milo character, named for their frontman and lead singer. And there's a Milo plushie. I am a fan of plushies, even though I am a grown man. And I really would love to have this. So my birthday is not until September. You can pre-order it now. It's probably going to sell out. This thing is adorable. I'm not shitting you. All right. Also, we're kind of over on time, but I'm gonna do a little throwback. We were doing a segment back in the height of the pandemic called "Who Rules It Streaming?" And I'm gonna take this off for a second, and I do want to show this video. Do you know the name John Detty? You might not, but if you've seen Anthrax, if you've seen Testament, if you saw Slayer their last couple of years, whenever they needed a fill-in drummer, they called John Detty. John Detty is incredible, and he should really be on more people's radar as a permanent band member. He's an amazing drummer. If you can hang with those 3 of the greatest bands and drummer, drum parts ever on those 3 bands, 3 thrash legends, John Detty is your man. Fun fact, our producer Omar Cordy got lessons from John Detty once. John Detty's been doing a series of videos on YouTube celebrating the drums of the Big Four. And I'm a little hesitant to share this because I don't want to get demonetized. And I probably just saying the word demonetized probably demonetizes you. But here's a little bit of John Detty playing some drums. I'm going to give it like 10 seconds. So obviously, if you were watching on YouTube, you saw it. And if you weren't, you didn't. But John Deddy, you rule at streaming. Go check that guy out. He's incredible. Follow his YouTube. He's putting up awesome content every week. He just built a whole new drum studio. He did a whole video on that. And in general, he's just a fantastic guy. I'd like to interview him sometime. John Deddy, if you're watching this, DM me, brother. I want to chat it up. Let's chop it up on an interview on Zoom. I'm tired. I'm not drunk. I promise. Back to this. We're almost at the finish line, people. It's time for the mailbag, and then we get out. What's in the mail? I gave it away if you're watching on YouTube, but I got a package in the mail sent to me here. And, I get stuff sent to me all the time. An awesome book came out 2 years ago, Money Hacks for Metalheads and Old Millennials. And nobody teaches you how to manage your money, especially if you're a starving artist. The idea of the starving artist is, out of style to me, but nobody really teaches you about finance and how to manage your money. Just nobody teaches you. So this Jesse May, who used to run the Alternative Control blog and also has several killer bands, including Turkey Vulture and Owlmaker. Owlmaker's kind of on hiatus. Turkey Vulture is still playing shows and putting out EPs and things. She wrote this book. She had a CPA check all of her facts and knowledge. So if you're looking to fix your finances, if you're looking to figure out how to make money as a band or how to survive while you try to make it in a band, this book is for you. This book helped me a lot. Running a small business, we have money struggles. And so this is really, as you know, this is a fundraiser. So we have money struggles. So she put out a second edition of the book and she sent me one. So let's just see what's in here. I normally open these things before I'm on air. So sorry, everybody. This is wrapped extremely well. It was like a brown paper wrap with an Amazon packet inside. Oh, here we go. All right. There's a card. I think there's nothing else in there. Nope. Here's the new edition of the book. I think the previous edition. Yeah, this is awesome. And we had done a top 10 books of 2020. And my name's on the back of this thing because she posted my quote, added my quote to the new version. This is pretty great. Here's what I wrote 2 years ago. Certainly, this is the first personal finance book ever with puns about both Carcass and the Dark Crystal series on Netflix. This book is a phenomenal resource for anyone in a band. It is essential reading for anyone interested in improving their fortunes in the near future. I wrote that. It's pretty damn cool. This is a really great book. And the new edition of the book is the same old book, but with interviews with bands about how they manage their finances. Dead Titan Band is here. Shout out to Dead Titan Band. How you doing? So Year of the Cobra is quoted in here. Duncan Evans is in here. He used to be in A Forest of Stars, and he writes for Ghost Cult sometimes. Shameless plug. But yeah, so the new edition of this book, Money Hacks for Metalheads and Old Millennials, is out now. You can get it on Amazon. They also sent me a card. Let's see what's in the little card. I like thank you cards. If you want to impress a band, thank a band, thank somebody, thank a journalist with a thank you card. Let's see what's in here. All righty. Dear Keith, thank you so much for your continued support in my crazy endeavors. It means a lot. Happy New Year. Cheers. Jesse May, of the author of Money Hacks for Metalheads and Old Millennials. Thank you for supporting us back. So we've come to that. Also in the mail this week, not quite in the mail, but brought to me in person from across the country, my Evil Robb photography hat. Evil Robb is a photographer at Ghost Cult. He has been around for 25 plus years. He is, if you have a favorite band, he has probably photographed him or them or they, them. I will share a link to Rob's portfolio. He has stuff for sale, incredible photos of artists you probably love if you want a beautiful poster size image of a band he shot. But he sent me this hat with his logo, the two fists of Evil Robb. I finally got my hat, Rob. I finally got it. Thank you. Brought to me in person. Special delivery. So, that is our show. If you have made it this far, you are a trooper. 1 hour. This is our longest show, I think, ever. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm trying technical fun things on YouTube to make these videos a little more interesting and special. Who knows what's next for us, but this was an experience. I wanted to try it. I'm glad I did. As we say every week at the Weekly Ritual, first of all, thank you so much for if you made it this far, you're a real one. Please help us out. If you can't donate to our fundraiser, link is in the description where you can give some money on PayPal, or take Cashapp at ghostcultmag or Kofi. Definitely give us a like or subscribe. Definitely drop a comment. Definitely share us with your metal-loving and rock-loving friends. We have something for everybody every week, and we work really hard at this shit. So let me tell you. Thanks so much for watching us. I am Keefy from Ghost Cult, and as I like to say all the time, it's a tough time in the world. So please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay as metal as humanly possible. Peace out. Till next week.